So I'd love some support on my business.
Okay.
Because I feel a lot of imposter syndrome.
Okay.
And I'm noticing that a lot of my feeling of inadequacy is getting in the way of the work that I'm here to do.
Okay.
So I work with clients in the healing space. And I feel like no matter how many times that they tell me they had a transformative experience or they feel like they had a great session, I'm constantly beating myself up, telling myself that I don't know enough or I need to learn more. And I feel like it's just getting in the way of the work that I want to do. I beat myself up over it because I am a coach. I feel like I should be able to work through this.
Okay, because she's a coach, she thinks that she should work through this. So what is the underlying energy of that? Because right now, with that energy, you're a complete imposter. You started the whole thing, you got this imposter syndrome, you want me to help with your business, is how you started, right? And your concern is that you've got this imposter feeling, even though your clients are getting good results. But here you are with a self-reflective ability where you're trying to overcome the feeling that there's something wrong with you, right? What I want you to consider is because you're trying to overcome something that is what? Human. So here you are, a human helping humans, trying not to be...
Human.
You get how fucked up that is? It's one of my other quotes. I say one of the hardest parts about being human is being human. And one of the qualities of being human is trying not to be human. So you're right on track, but you're being an imposter. So what we want to go a little deeper is why? Why are you playing that game? Where did you learn that being you is not enough?
Yeah, definitely in my childhood.
For sure. Who? More than anyone?
I mean, both parents, but definitely a lot from Dad.
And what were some of the things you heard?
Well, one time, and it's hard because, again, I go back to this piece of I've done so much work on this, and here it is again.
Yeah, but why have you done so much work?
Because I still feel like there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make sense if you think there's something wrong with you and that's like a survival instinct that you have to do work to try and overcome that? Which is reinforcing what?
That there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, what if I told you the only thing that's wrong with you is that you think there's something wrong with you? Okay, so what did Dad say?
Well, one of the things I remember is him telling me that I was going to grow up and be a loser like my mom and my sister.
Okay, that's some super strong affirmations, right?
Yeah.
So say it again.
That he told me I'm going to grow up and be a loser like my mom and my sister. But I feel like...
No but. There's no but in that statement. The but is the work that you keep doing. What age do you remember hearing that first off?
Maybe like 11.
Yeah, and how often did you hear it after that?
I mean, I heard it replaying in my own head over and over.
Yeah, what's it like to walk around that who you are is you're going to grow up to become a loser like your mum and your sister?
It feels awful.
Yeah. What did that little girl do to compensate?
I know, tried to do what she could to not be a loser.
Yeah, it's natural, right? Like all a child, what did I say at the beginning? We all just want love and acceptance, right? And here's a gorgeous little 11-year-old. I don't care who you are, but at 11, especially as a little girl, there's so much preciousness in that being. And just reading your energy and how committed you are and the fact that you're here and that you're the first to ask a question and you want to help your clients. You're just riddled with the fact that you care and you want to do a good job. Much of which has been exacerbated because of this fear that you're going to be a loser, right? So it's like it's imperative at this point, right, that you get beyond that because it actually hurts so much at the deepest level that you're this precious bundle of love. Like everything is an act of love or the search for it. You have no interest in me helping you with your business. What you're looking for is love of self. And you find love of self, your business will 10x. You see that? So walking around in a world where who you are relative to other is you're a loser, and that's the future you're also stepping into because the way he phrased it is you're going to become. So it's one thing for a parent to say to a child, you're an idiot. Like that's present tense, right? But there may be a glimpse of hope that they could get out of that. If I work really hard, I become a good boy, and I become a perfectionist, and then I might escape this destiny of scorn that my father gave me. But it's sort of like, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to become a loser like your mum and your sister. So it becomes like absolutely futile, because it doesn't matter what you do, your prison sentence is not only how you feel now, but it's also something that you're perpetually trying to avoid. Do you see that?
Yeah.
It's extraordinary that you look as healthy as you are and that you have, by the sounds of it, a really nice impact on people. Because somebody who has this particular sentence, like there's different ways we can be maladaptive or adaptive in the way that we respond or react to our constraints. So someone who's not good enough might become the perfectionist, people pleaser, work hard, get the corner office, get the house in the suburbs, and I'm gonna disprove my fucking father. I'm gonna make him wrong. But someone who's also not good enough is like, what's the point? I might as well just hang out with this gang and do drugs and end up on the streets. And when I first told people that the person in the corner office versus the person on the streets are coming from the same narrative, they're like, that's just crazy. But it's how we respond to it. And so for Trisha here to be like in this whole world of, I'm going to, no matter what I do, be a loser like my mum and my sister, can you see that's like a life sentence? And this is why I talk about these prisons, and you've all got them. And some of you right now, I've seen a few tears just walking around, like this one's a little close to the bone for you because you have a very similar one, right? And then we can see that the adaptation of a human being, because we so desperately want to survive, it's all about survival, then what she has to do is not be a loser and do everything she can to avoid being a loser. So her intentions are really, logical, but sadly the language from her father has stopped, and now it's in the machine. The virus has taken hold. The danger that was once without becomes the enemy within. So you start to see the world you've lived in. Mm-hmm. You happy to share how old you are?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 39.
39, right. So here we got a story that's 28 years old. Think about that. And this is why, I had the most beautiful conversation with this woman from Holland in my mastermind on Saturday, who's a single mom of 2, and she has migraines. And so she wanted me to help her out with her migraines and understand. And her version of she's going to be a loser was that it's all up to her. It's all up to her, right? You can imagine. It's like many of you here are single parents. They're like, well, of course it is. She's a single parent. Like, what the fuck is he talking about, right? But that was from a very young age, that it's all up to her. And so when it comes to, particularly for her, the cycle, and now she's got even more pressure, right? Because she's not feeling great, and but she still has to cook and provide and do laundry and and play games. So she was constantly in this state of pressure. And when she saw that the statement, it's all up to her as a subconscious constraint, it's not a truth. It feels that way. I have compassion for it. I understand it. It's just not a truth. And when you can distinguish between something that's a reality, almost 3 decades, her, I'm a loser, I'm going to be a loser, it's pretty convincing to her. It's not even convincing as a belief. It's just who she is. And there's the very subtle distinction between what I say, the you that you are for yourself versus a limiting belief. A limiting belief, at least, is something you're aware of. She's just being somebody who's trying not to be a loser. Like, it's driving every part of her thinking, acting, and results. So when this woman really got like, holy shit, that's just not true that it's all up to me. It feels that way at times, and I don't, but she does have support, or she could, just even if it's universal support, like, pray to Jesus or sweet baby Jesus or something, right? It's not all up to you, right? She said, holy shit. I said, how would that feel like if it's not all up to you? And she's like, I don't even know. And she articulated it so well, because I'm working with people, and when they see it, that it's not a truth, that you're not good enough, that you're not a loser, that you're not safe, I'm like, I'm introducing you to a world that you're not familiar with. And it really is that. And she said, but it's so kind of scary but exciting, because I feel like I've got this whole other place to explore outside of the prison of what was previously completely defining her. Does that make sense? So we start to get the world of, here's this beautiful woman with all the best intentions, what she's here to do. It's sort of philanthropic, she's got this purpose, she wants to make a difference, but she's literally in a prison energetically, emotionally, and psychologically, which then cascades into her physiology. I'm sure it impacts her relationships, yet it's all based on a fundamental lie. So what are you getting from what I just shared?
That I'm not actually a loser.
Say it a little louder for people.
I'm not actually a loser.
Yeah, and what does that say about your future?
I'm not going to become a loser?
I mean, just try it on. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to fucking ruin your whole miserable life and give you a life of joy and...
I'm not going to become a loser.
No. And how do we know that?
Because I've never been one to begin with.
What does that feel like to say?
It feels like I'm like meeting my real self for the first time.
Yeah, don't resist it. And you thought you wanted to improve your business. I have been such a disservice if I try to help you improve your business. There's people lining up right now to work with you that don't even know you exist. They're going to come across this woman because, for whatever reasons, in a post, in a story, in an interview, in a podcast, they'll go, there's something about this girl. She's so at peace with herself. I want that. She would have attracted the perfectionists, the people pleasers for sure, the type A's, right? Because that would have resonated with her not trying to be human. Do you now get why you were an imposter?
Because I was trying not to be human.
I mean, that's probably a pretty big reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just want you all to get, whether you're coaches, teachers, parents, lovers, all anybody wants is to really be gotten, to really be seen, heard, and held. How well can you see, hold, hear, be with someone if your MO, your agenda for yourself is, I'm trying to be perfect and not be human?
Yeah, I can't.
It's amazing you've had a career. You have talent, you have gift, and your intentions are pure, but like really, really get, like when you're in a prison, and think about it literally, if someone's in a prison and their commitment is like, you know, if someone right now called us from San Quentin, you know, and it's like, they're in the cell number 58, and it's like, can you help me with my business? It's like, what are you doing? Selling cigarettes? Like how, like you're in prison, right? But it's the same. Like, it's like, you got to understand, if you're in a prison in here, your capacity to access true potential is literally limited. It's not fictitious, it's literal. So she has a business, but it pales in comparison to the world that her whole physiology is already stepping into. She, you know, it's going to take a minute, just with like Ryan and Michelle, like it takes a minute to integrate. She's not so old, like not that I mean like for any of you who are above 39, but you know, no offense. But the older we get, the more like convincing our stories become. It becomes a little bit more stubborn, right? And so at least for her, there's a spirit, there's a freedom about her that I feel like is going to be pretty fucking instantaneous. Like my only kind of counsel to her is like, get ready. Get ready, because this isn't about improving business. She literally just opened a portal to an entirely new world that she previously didn't know exist, outside of the constraint of thinking she's a loser. Can you see that she's walking through life energetically like this, trying to avoid becoming the very energy she keeps perpetuating? The same woman that I spoke to in my mastermind, she's got migraines and other health issues she wanted me to help her with. When she realized she's living in a world of it's all up to her, which is a survival strategy because she had to take care of her parents when she was young. The dad was a drunk and da-da-da. So as a young girl, she was charged not with the story she's a loser, but with the charge of the responsibility of taking care of her parents. Can you imagine the weight of that? And then she wondered why she had health issues. And she's like, oh my God, I just realized the means by which I try to survive, meaning she takes it all on, the means by which she's trying to survive is what's killing her. Do you get how mad that is? She really got it. She's like, holy shit, the mechanism I'm using to try and survive is what's killing me. She's trying to enhance her business by using a mechanism that makes her unattainable, unrelatable, inauthentic. And especially in the realm of coaching, you know, if there's one thing that I pride myself on is like, anyone who's listened to me on a podcast or certainly my mastermind, you know, I'm the first to lose it, talk about my story. I am far from perfect. So now in the world of, you're not a loser, you've never been a loser, you can't actually be a loser, how might you feel?
I feel more confident.
That's usually a good precursor to a better business.
I feel more loving of myself and accepting.
Yeah. Again, one of my quotes, they say, please never become perfect. You'll have no one to relate to. You now have a lot of people to relate to. And I promise you, as it relates to coaching and any kind of counsel, that is the platform upon which you get to make the biggest impact. What could you now see possible stepping out of? And it's literally a stepping out of the constraint that you're a loser and that you're going to be a loser. How might you relate to your dad differently?
Being more accepting of him.
Yeah. So he, like any of you, and I'm not in any way condoning because I don't know all of your stories, whatever you went through that was probably, for some of you very traumatic, and I don't want to dismiss that, meaning, if some of you were hit or really abused. But I really want you to consider in the arc of your journey of what it is to be human in this incarnation, that in ways you may not be consciously aware of, you did attract and curate the events of your life because you're here to transcend something. So this was not a conscious part of her, but nonetheless, her father serves as the teacher for her soul's evolution. Does that make sense without getting too heady? Meaning if it weren't for the catalyst of you're going to become a loser like your mom and your sister, she doesn't go on the heroine's journey of trying to overcome that only to realize, oh, I'm the one that took that on. Again, one of my quotes, I say, other people's words will only hurt you to the degree that you already believe them. Do you get that? Now, as a kid, of course, you don't have the discernment to be able to say, oh, no, that's just dad having a bad day. Of course I'm not a loser. I'm a divine being who's timeless, boundless, and limitless. Unless you're an indigo child. But, so for the most part, you take it on like, that's it. Mum says that, dad said that, and it's a truth. And then as soon as you adopt it as a truth, as though that's who you are, that's when you start your journey of self-preservation and survival, where you literally abandon yourself. When I said to her, how would that feel? She said, I feel like I'm coming back to myself. And that's her journey, full completion. And now she gets to go to a different oscillation of what is it like for her to live outside of the constraints of she has the propensity and the likelihood of being a loser. But do you not feel like already, can you see, even as an intuitive, as a woman, can you see that you just changed the future timeline that you were otherwise on? Can you see that? Right? Because your future was probable, it's predictable, right? Like human behavior, if you look at anything, the stock markets and people doing whatever, just the way you think your spouse is going to react, you've got some evidence and it's sort of predictable. If you did X, that you're going to get the whatever reaction you're accustomed to. So on that timeline, you have a probable and predictable future. So hers would have been what? Sign up for the next course, do another workshop, work harder, meditate. Meditation's wrong, do another meditation, right? Pay more for the other meditation teacher, just to keep working on there's something wrong with her.
Okay, so real talk though,
yeah.
I was just about to sign up for a program,
How much was the program going to be?
Almost 12K.
12K, I'll take 6. Yeah. Saved you $6,000. You're welcome.
So there was ego self that was coming through and soul self that was coming through, because ego self really was like, oh, this program is going to help forward your business, and soul self kept saying no. I kept hearing the message, you don't need this. No. You don't need this. And then I was just like, just go to Peter Crow and see what happens.
I literally, sign up for my mastermind, you'll save 7. And I promise you, I'll make sure that you realize how ordinary and there's something wrong with you. And you'll be like, I feel amazing. Yeah, well, good. You're welcome. So can you feel it? It's different, right?
Yeah, I feel more just permission to be myself.
Yeah. Like her whole breathing pattern changes. She's no longer destined for this loser future. She comes into a place of freedom, which then gives her a sense of peace and ease. And so her physiology instantaneously changes. And I see it every single time, however minute. It doesn't matter who I work with. I literally see their breathing pattern change immediately that they get something. Healing happens instantaneously when you step out of prison. Think about it literally, the relief that somebody has when they're beyond the cage, beyond the bars. But you all have your own version. That's what's available for you when you get outside of the constraints of your subconscious. It seems like miracle work, and it is, relative to the norm. But when you really get it, it's physics. And that's the beauty of this. This is why I feel like the luckiest guy alive, because to me it's so crystal clear. I can hear the stories like screaming at me from the subconscious, and my role is just to help reveal it so she gets it. I could already tell with the way she spoke, and she even thinks it's incumbent upon her to heal people, and the work she's up to, you can feel the pressure, and it's like, okay, now I can see that she's playing in a world where she's trying to become something, she's trying to prove something. That immediately tells me that she doesn't accept herself at all. That immediately tells me why her business is not working, because why are people going to see her more than anything? Everyone wants to feel self-accepted. Mental health that people talk about every day, the number one elixir, antidote for mental health is self-love. But her self-love was wrapped up in self-improvement. Ah, that got you, right? You're like, shit, I'm doing the same thing. It's one of literally my favorite sayings. She was becoming the best version of her limited self. Everybody's doing that. And that's human, it's okay. But I'm so happy that I get to completely bust open your limited self. And then it becomes this like infinite exploration of true potential. So forget about improving her business. How about just accessing true peace? Accessing true vitality? Stepping into true abundance? When? Now. Not when she finishes a 12K program that wouldn't have worked. Right? It would have given her more information to work on. And again, I know it's a little dismissive. Maybe there's some good content in there. Again, there are obviously other means to getting to this place of freedom. I just don't know many, because I've looked, because I was in the same situation, a couple of decades ago, becoming Perfect Pete. Seriously, that was my fucking name in college. Yeah, no pressure. Perfect Pete. I'm like, okay, I can live up to that. Yeah, it's like, that's a fucking terrible game to play. Yeah, but that was appropriate for the person that I'd become, orphaned at a young age, truly pushed into survival, completely up to me because I don't have anyone. So I better, in order to garner love and acceptance and whatever, I've got to become perfect, which equally made me so unrelatable. So I'd enjoy the fact that there's something wrong with you. It's great being fucked up. Can you see the opportunity now for your business?
Yes.
Yeah. And what a service you will be now for everybody that you get to work with. Because I promise you, they all have their own version. And you can now meet them there. And that might be all they need. Because at the end of the day, we all just want to be loved and accepted. And you couldn't access that for them because you didn't have it for yourself. And that includes your dad. He was doing the best he could. And he was your greatest teacher. And that's where the gratitude comes in. Thank you.